What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm here tonight with a review for Love and Hip Hop New York, Season 9, Episode 10. I think this episode is titled Crease, the Timbs? Something like that. It'll be in the description below. So we are almost finished with this season. Thank God. We only got 4 episodes left before the finale, which means we only have 14 episodes of Love and Hip Hop New York. Like, I guess Mona says, shit, fuck it, we're gonna just decrease this season and we're gonna I don't know, like, this is the shortest season that I've saw so far of New York, because, you know, normally it's like 16 episodes plus the reunion, because I know Love and Hip Hop Hollywood was 16 episodes, but Mona said it's a done deal, cut it, wrap, because they ain't give us shit, so we done with y'all. Alright, so I'm not quite sure where to start it with this episode, so I guess I'm gonna start it with the scene that really just wasn't a whole lot of nothing. We saw Jonathan. So Jonathan, he met up with Maggie, and he was telling Maggie about the whole trip to the winery, how everything just, you know, went left, how, you know, Kimbella and what's her name, Mariah Lynn, they were talking about Yandy, and they were talking about Infinity, how they think Yandy is using Infinity, you know, to garnish more publicity for her stuff, good publicity, I guess they would say. And, you know, Maggie don't feel like that's right for them to do it, which I don't agree with that either. And then, you know, he tells Maggie that Alexis Ground is coming there. Now, while I'm speaking of Yandy, you know, I think it was just yesterday. Yeah, it actually was yesterday. So out there in New York, I guess it's the prison that Mendices is at. Sorry about that. So Yandy was out there protesting because I guess the prison has no heat in it, and it's really cold up there in New York. So, you know, they were on a megaphone, and they were telling the inmates to beat on the walls if they got some blankets that were sent to them. I guess they didn't do it. And then, you know, beat on the wall if it's still cold in there, if they did not receive their blankets and stuff like that. So I saw that, and then, you know, people talking about, oh, why she got to be on live? Why she got to be doing this? From what I saw, it wasn't her live that she was on. I guess somebody who was there around her was on live, and she just happened to be in the forefront, and they caught her on camera. And then, you know, excuse me. And then maybe an hour or two later, we saw more footage where she had got, you know, pepper sprayed or maced, or one of the two. And again, people just talking about, oh, this is what Kimbella was talking about, how Yandy just do everything for social media this and social media that. I get that whole aspect of, you know, she is doing this, you know, to make herself look good, which I don't agree with that. I don't believe that's what she's doing at all. Especially with Mendices being in, I think Mendices is in that prison. I'm not 100% positive, but I think Mendices is in that prison that she was outside of. If that is the case, then Yandy is not doing that for publicity. It's because her man is there, and, you know, I guess if he's there, then I'm assuming she sent him a blanket that he never got, or something that the guards just never gave to him. So for people to just be talking about, you know, she's doing this for, you know, clout, for doing this for this and this and that, I don't 100% agree with that. Like I said, if that is in fact the prison that Mendices is at, she's doing that because she feels like her man is being mistreated by the system. Like, I think people just need to get out of the whole thing of, oh, it's Yandy, and you want to think the worst of Yandy. And then, like I said before, I don't think that was her live that she was on. And even if it was her live that she was on, she's just trying to show the social injustices that are going on in that prison. Like, I don't see what's so bad about that. So then, moving back to the show, we get Alexis Guy. She shows up. I actually called her by her name this time. Alexis Guy, she shows up. You know, she's telling Jonathan and Maggie about the whole situation that happened when she met up with Shotty and Treyway. How, you know, they got shot up, and, you know, Maggie was talking about how she got shot at. And they both talking about how, you know, it's a blessing, and it is. And, you know, speaking of Alexis, because she was talking about Shotty and Treyway and Tekashi 6ix9ine. Now, that motherfucker this past week, he's saying like a fucking canary. So, you know, he's waiting to be sentenced, but he's looking at facing some, you know, dealing with some time, because he done snitched on them niggas. So he turned rat-a-tat-tat on that ass. And you know, Alexis is talking about how, you know, she's gonna meet up with Mano and she's gonna do this song with Mano. And I forgot what the name of the song was, but we'll get into a little bit more about that song in just a few minutes, what the significance of that song is. All right, so next I'm gonna talk about Sidney Starr. So we see Sidney Starr. She is, I guess she's just waking up for the day. And I will say that Sidney Starr with no makeup on, no wig on, just her natural hair and her natural, you know, her natural look, she looks really good. But then when she puts the makeup on and the wig and the, you know, the ill-fitting, well, they're not ill-fitting, but the slutty, trampish, hoish clothes that she put on, she looked good before. And I'm like, if you just tone some of that shit down, you would not, I don't know. I feel like if she just toned that shit down, you know, people wouldn't talk about her look as much. Like, less is more. And I think that's what Sidney Starr doesn't understand. I feel like, you know, she's trying to overcompensate by putting the wig on, putting all the makeup on, pushing her tits together, you know, wearing the tight, skimpy dresses. I think she feels like I feel like she's overcompensating because she is a transgender woman. That's just how I feel. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but that's just what I gather when I look at her. So then we see Sidney Starr. She's going to a doctor, and you know, she's talking. This is to see about getting her surgery to, you know, to turn her penis into a vagina. Whew. When that man sat there and told her, you know, because I've heard about the surgery before. So what they do is they split the penis in half. They take the head of it. I know they flip it. Oh, I'm gonna stop talking about it because it just makes me cringe. And no offense to anybody who's transgender out there who might be watching my video. Absolutely no offense to you. That's just, I just cannot do anything to my dick. I'm sorry. I was born a man. I was born with a dick. I do not want a vagina. Love my dick. To, you know, it's gonna stay with me till the day that I die. Unless somehow it falls off, gets chopped off, it's gonna stay right where it is. But again, no offense to the transgenders. I respect you guys and gals. So no offense. It's just, you know, I just couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Love my body. So, you know, he's telling her about the surgery. He's telling her, you know, what kind of, and then this is the real reason why I would never do it, the risk. Like he was talking about how, you know, they can mess up the rectum, and how when she goes to use the bathroom, instead of it coming out the behind, out her ass, it can come out the front. I'm like, oh, hell no. So then Sidney asked, you know, well, how much is this gonna cost me? So he was like, it's gonna run you about $30,000 to $40,000. I'm like, shit. And now you see why, because I know that there are still some transgender women out there who still have their penis. I think Caitlyn Jenner still has hers, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a lot of them that, you know, they still have theirs. They just want to go through the whole process of, you know, being feminized, but still keeping their genitals, you know, their male penis, their penis. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't judge. I'm not judging anybody who, if you choose to keep your penis but get, you know, breast, hair, you know, feminine features in your face, whatever, that's your business, and I respect that. And if you know, so it's your choice, whatever you choose to do. I personally just couldn't do it. Plus, I think I would be an ugly ass female, so that's another reason why I could not be a transgender. I think I would be an ugly woman. So then, now speaking of Sidney Starr, when it comes down to Sidney Starr, because I think a lot of us have said this on our videos, she comes off as a joke in a way. Because I don't remember what cycle this was of America's Next Top Model, but there was the transgender model by the name of Isis who was on there. You know, they had to do that one photo shoot where they were, I think they were mermaids or something like that. Either way it go, they had to get in the water, and you know, Isis had to tape herself, and she was just, you know, in the moment she was vulnerable because, you know, she had a disadvantage, whereas, you know, she had a disadvantage from the other girls because the other girls are women who have vaginas, and she was a woman with a penis. I respected Isis so much on that season because she opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. She was actually, She was the first transgender that I ever saw on television. But then I also had a friend that was in school with me that was trans. I didn't realize it at the time that he was transitioning from, male to female. But then, just watching her story on America's Next Top Model, it just opened my eyes up to so much stuff. And then, on Top Model, after she left Top Model, and I think this is before she came back on the All-Star season, Tyra brought her on her show, the Tyra Show at that time. And there was this doctor by the name of Dr. Marcy Bowers or something like that. Bowers. Can't remember what that doctor's name was. That performed ISIS surgery because, the doctor herself was a transgender woman. So, it's a big comparison. It's a big difference between Sidney Starr and Isis. Isis, you could tell that she was serious about everything. And with Sidney Starr, it just feels like it's a game for her. I don't know how else to put it, but I just don't take Sidney Starr seriously when she talks about her transition, and I don't take her serious about anything that she's saying. So then we see her, she meets up with Mariah Lynn. They sitting down, they catching up on everything that happened out there at the winery. She's talking about how she wanted it to be a good day for them, how she wanted to make up with Nia Lee. And then, Mariah Lynn starts to talk about what happened between her and Sidney Starr. I mean, not her and Sidney Starr, but her Nia Lee. Don't nobody give a fuck, and I'm not finna rehash it. So then, she asked her, well, how did your appointment go? She's like, oh, it went good, but, I found out how much my surgery gonna cost. It's gonna cost me $30,000 or $40,000, and I don't know where I'm gonna come up with that money. So, Mariah Lynn has the bright idea to say, hey, why don't you make a track, and that'll make you your money. No. Have you heard her rap? No, it ain't gonna work. Nobody's gonna buy that trash ass. No. We're not, ain't nobody here for it. Like, So then Sidney starts to talk about how, she feels like as a pre-op transgender, she feels like she's treated differently from a post-op transgender person. I mean, I guess, but there are men out there that like, pre-op transgender women as opposed to post-op. So I don't get where she's coming from with that. But if that's how she feels, I'm not gonna knock how she feels. Like, whatever. All right, so next we got Maggie. So Maggie, she's at her hair shop. She has this business where she sells hair. So then we see Mano come in, and Maggie is on the thing of, since Mano took her to the place that she got shot at, she is now wanting to step back out there and put herself back into her music. And like I said, Mano comes in. So Maggie's telling him that she wants to be put on one of his songs. And then he asks her what song she wants to be put on. And she tells him, again, I forgot the name of the song, but it's a song that I was talking about earlier with Alexis, that Alexis guy was going to the studio to record with Mano. So Mano's whole thing is when it comes to, Maggie, he wants to know that Maggie is serious about this because for a long time he hasn't heard Maggie talk about anything with the music. But Maggie's like, life got in the way. My brother lost his eyesight. My sister was battling cancer, and I got shot. And I absolutely understand where Maggie is coming from. That all that is very, very traumatic. Your sister's dying of cancer. Your brother loses his eyesight, and then you get shot. Like, you can't expect for somebody just to bounce back from that and be like, oh, let me just get back into my music. Like, I absolutely 100% understand where she's coming from. But at the same token, I definitely understood what Mano was talking about, because Mano was like, he pushed Maggie to, build a future for herself, build a foundation for herself. So that's why he pushed her with this hairline that she got. And I understand where he's coming from, because I've had that same situation with my mom. My mom was old school. My mom was an older person. My mom, when she passed away, my mother was 76 years old. No, she was 76, because if she had to live to see her birthday, she would have been 77. So my mom was so old school, She knew what I wanted to do with my life. She knew that I love music, and she knows that I love, television and film. She knew without a doubt what I want to do. She knows that I want to, be happy doing my music, happy doing, either acting or behind the scenes like I'm doing now. She knew that about me. But she always instilled in me that, and she always advocated, she believed in me. And she told me that, she said, I know you don't think that I believe in you, but I do. She said, I just want what's best for you. And she said, because we had a discussion when I graduated high school. I graduated high school at 17 years old. And that summer, I turned 18. So she asked me, she was like, what are you going to do? She's like, because you're not just going to sit around here all summer and then not go to school. She's like, either you're going to work or you're going to go to school. And the reason why she told me that was because, she was like, again, she said, I know you want to do your music. I know you want to, try to pursue a career in television and film. But you need something to fall back on if that career never works out for you. And I didn't understand at that time what she was saying. But as I got older, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Always have something so that way, if what I want to do doesn't work, I can always have something to fall back on. So that's why I went to school and I got my business degree. Am I using it? Not 100%. But I definitely understood what she meant by that. And that's kind of where I think Mano is with Maggie. So then we see this scene where Mano is in the studio and Alexis comes to the studio. And, he's asking Alexis what's going on with her and her label. She says nothing at this point because they're giving her the runaround. Nah, boo, they ain't giving you the runaround. Your label is going to jail. They're going to be locked up. They won't let them out. They locked up. They won't let them out. Your label is locked up, girl. So, then Maggie shows up. And Maggie said something in her green screen that I definitely did agree with. Mano didn't want to work with her because he doesn't know how she fits in as a rapper. But then you have Alexis here, who is fairly new to rapping, and she sucks like a motherfucker at rapping. But you willing to put Alexis on this track and not your girl. So I definitely understood where, Maggie was coming from. So, she tells him how she feels like he's pushing her to the side. And I definitely can see that, how she feels that way. Because it does kind of look like he's pushing her to the side. But again, Mano just wanted Maggie to build a foundation for herself, like I said before. I get it. You always need something to fall back on if that music career doesn't work, if that acting career doesn't fall through, whatever that career is that you want to do. If it does not come to fruition, make sure that you have something stable that you can fall back on. So I definitely get that. Like I said, looking back in the mirror, I definitely see it now. So then we see a scene where Maggie's in the studio and she's recording a song. The song actually sounded pretty good. I think it needed a few little tweaks, but it really did sound good as compared to anything that we've heard this whole season from, Alexis. Well, we ain't heard nothing from Alexis, so we're going to scratch Alexis out of there. But anything that we've heard from Sidney Starr, it sounded so good. I'm actually going to look into that song after I finish my 2 videos tonight. So then less than 12 hours later, we see, a candlelight vigil that they're having. So the guy that Maggie was in the studio with, as he was leaving the club, he got shot and killed. I'm like, this gun violence has got to stop. Like, I don't understand it. Like, it baffles me because even when I was coming up, we fight with each other, beat each other up, but never to the point that you want to go and take somebody else's life. Like, I just don't understand that. Like, in the movie Friday, Mr. Jones, he told Craig, you win some and you lose some, but you live to fight another day. And that is something that always stuck with me. Like, yeah, you can get into a fist fight with somebody and they might beat your ass, and that's okay. Bruises heal, cuts heal, broken arms, broken legs, all of that shit heals. Like, if you throw your arm out, because my best friend, she throws her arm out when she fights. Love you to death, but she does throw her arm out. Like, all that shit, you can pop your arm back in place. You can pop your shoulder, you can collarbone, shoulder, whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But you can pop that shit back into place. Like I said, the cuts, the bruises, the black eyes, all that stuff, it heals. But A fatal gunshot wound, a stabbing wound, that does not heal. That is permanent, and that person is gone forever, and they're not gonna come back. And then, you know, you take that person's life, but in the same token, you also ruin your life at the same time. Because there's this show on Investigation Discovery that I watch on Wednesday nights. I'm a big, huge fan of John Walsh. Like I've watched John Walsh since I was a kid when he had America's Most Wanted. So I've just grown up watching every show that John Walsh has. So he has this new show called In Pursuit with John Walsh. And it comes on Wednesday nights. I typically miss it because of Love and Hip Hop Miami, Grownish, and Black Ink Crew Chicago, which I might be able to catch it this week because there's no Love and Hip Hop Miami on Wednesday nights anymore. So, you know, I was watching 2 weeks ago, there was this kid that went to college, and, you know, him and his friends got into a fight with some other kids, some other guys. And then they went to the club, and when they were in the club, another fight broke out. And then one of the guys ended up stabbing him and killing him. And the guy's been on the run since, 2005. And that's the other thing. Like, yeah, you might kill them and you take their life from them, but you fuck up your life because you have to live. If you don't go to jail and go to prison for the rest of your life, you end up on the run. You have to look over your shoulders all day, every day. So just keep that in mind. Like, I don't understand why people don't think about that. Like, it's okay to take an ass whooping. There's nothing wrong with that. Take the L. Take it. But you can fight that person again. And if you get the best of them the next time, you won. But if, they keep beating your ass, then shit, let it go. But again, you can always heal from a scrape, a cut, a bruise, a black eye, a broken shoulder, a broken leg, a broken toe, a broken finger, a broken anything. That heals. But death, you can never heal from that. Keep that in mind. All right, so the episode, it opened up with rubbing Pennies. He was meeting with his daughter, Ashley. They having lunch. They're talking about the whole thing that's going on with Miracle and, how they don't know how much time she's facing. And Ashley's whole thing is her sisters. She's concerned about her sisters. She's like, I don't want to have to drop out of college, to take care of my sisters. And Rich is like, that's not going to happen. Like, we're not going to let that happen. And, they also talking about how, Rich is talking about how when it comes down to Ashley, he's like, I don't ever want you to be in a position like what your mom was in. So I'm assuming Miracle was in an abusive situation. Well, I think they did say that she was in an abusive situation. And I don't understand for the life of me why people, when they get in abusive situations, I know it's fear and whatnot, but you have to report that shit. Like don't be afraid of it because, they beat your ass, but like I said before, bruises and stuff heal. Bruises, black eyes, cuts, scrapes, that all do heal. But when it comes to domestic abuse, that can eventually lead to something worse. Like Miracle's husband could have been killed, or she could have been killed, and without any kind of documentation. And that's what's fucking Miracle up, is the fact that Miracle did not report this. So now the court can't really say, hey, yeah, this is self-defense, because they don't have anything factual on paper to say, yeah, we've been called out for reports of, domestic violence and whatnot. So that's why Miracle's in the situation that she's currently in. And I do feel bad for Miracle, but if more people would say, hey, you know what, I'm being abused. And I know when it comes to women, they are afraid, but God, I hate hearing about women getting abused. I really do. That bothers me, because I can't understand for the life of me why a punk ass man can put his hands on a woman, but he can't step to a man the same way. That shit fucks with my brain. Like I've saw that. I see that quite often, more often than not, where you see a guy who beats on a woman, but won't step to a nigga the same way. Like, but you a badass nigga to step to this woman and hit this woman who is smaller than you and weaker than you. And I hate to say that, but men are stronger than women. We all know that. But you feel comfortable to step to this woman and hit her. But when a man bucks up to you, oh nah, bro, we good, we Gucci, we straight, That's punk made and that's bitch made as fuck. Okay, then later we see Rich. He met up with Jacquay. You know, he's telling Jacquay about what's happening with Miracle, and that's why he's been so MIA with Jacquay and with Sidney Star. Which you should have been MIA with Sidney Star because Sidney Star ain't got no motherfucking talent. Like, that's all you gotta say. Bitch ain't got no talent. I don't want to work with the hoe. I ain't got no contract with her. I'm done with him. So then, you know, Nia Lee comes in, and, you know, Nia is telling Rich everything that's happened between her and Sidney Star. You know, how, you know, she gave her the dresses, and she threw the dresses down in front of her, talking about she's not going to wear the dresses. Then, you know, she's talking about how at Jonathan's makeup event that, you know, she bucked at her, and then, you know, went to the winery, all the stuff that happened there. And at the end of the day, Nia is washing her hands with Sidney Star. And who can blame her? Like, nobody can. So, you know, Rich is like, you know what? I'm going to keep my word to you, and I'm going to help you get your music where it needs to be. I'm like, really? 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 You can even help Olivia get her music to where it needs to be. But, okay. You can help Olivia. You can help Erica Mena. You can help Johnny Blaze. You can help no artist before her. So now you want us to believe that you can help Nia Lee, if you say so. So then we see Rich. He having his sit down with Sidney Star. And when he gets in there, it's not just Sidney Star that he's sitting down with. It's Mariah Lynn as well. So, you know, they talking about, you know, Rich is putting her on the back burner, and he tells her the reason why he put her on the back burner is because of his situation with Miracle. And, you know, also, yeah, he tells her how, you know, he tried to, Sidney tells him how she, you know, the situation that happened with her and Nia, how she tried to make things right with Nia, how she tried to apologize to Nia. And, you know, because Rich brought it up to her too. And she's like, well, did you ask Nia? He said, I'm getting this from Nia. Like, this is Nia's side. It's like, you put blame on everybody else but yourself. Which, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because I mean, Sidney shouldn't have booked that Nia. She shouldn't have like when the girl was giving her the clothes, she shouldn't have disrespected her clothes and just threw them down. And she also should not have disrespected her by going and turning that dress into that fishnet looking dress. Like, absolutely not. So then Mariah Lynn is there, and you know, yeah, Mariah Lynn's talking about how, you know, she and Sidney did a record with one another. So then, you know, they start playing a record, and Rich is like this in his phone the whole time, just looking down at his phone, and so is Mariah Lynn. And you got Sidney Star up there dancing and, you know, going off to the track. And I'm like, the track was better than what Sidney Star does by herself. So I will say that much. So then Mariah Lynn gets all upset and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. Why are you so upset? Why are you so hype? Because you're talking about, you know, you in my bed with me. I'm like, oh, okay. We going there. I meant to mention this. I meant to mention this 2 weeks ago because it's been reported that Mariah Lynn is pregnant by Rich Dollaz, which nobody, I don't know if they've even addressed it on social media or not, but supposedly she's pregnant by him. Whoo! If that is the case, I don't know why the fuck she won't want to get pregnant by him. Like, he don't even pay his child support to his other baby mama, so I just don't know why she want to get pregnant by him. Like, whatever. If that's what she wants to do, let her have it. More power to her. All right, y'all. Lastly, we got Jewel. So he is talking to his mom about, you know, what he wants to do with Kim. And he tells his mom that he wants to propose to Kim. And she's like, well, is this what you really want to do? Like, you're not just doing this because, you know, you're getting ready to go to jail. And he's like, no, this is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I'm like, oh, after almost 10 years, you finally figure out that this is the woman that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Okay. I guess, if you say so. So then, you know, his mom was talking about, you know, how he and his brother and Kimbella, they don't get along with one another. And, you know, the family, she feels like the family's divided, and, you know, she just wants peace in the family before he goes to prison, I guess. Whatever. Actually, you know what? I missed something. So, because that happened after this situation happened. So, we also did see a scene where Jewel was with the kids, And the kids were making a card for, you know, Kimbella. I don't know why they're gonna making a card for Kimbella. I don't know if it was her birthday or what, but whatever. And then, you know, he asked them, he talking about their, you know, his and Kimbella's anniversary is coming up. And he asked the kids, you know, what do you guys think we should do for mommy? And the kids all said, you know, one of them said, you know, get her a ring. And the other one said, you know, propose to her. And I'm like, ooh, your kids are telling you to marry their mama. Like, you ought to feel some type of way that your kids are sitting here telling you to marry Kimbella. Like, you really should feel some type of way about that. So then the last thing that we saw, which was really cute, we saw, you know, and I think I didn't say this, but Joel told his mama that, you know, I guess Dipset had a concert, and, you know, so we see the concert, and this is a concert that played out on the blogs. It was on the Shade Room and all that stuff, where Joel's finally proposed to Kimbella. When he proposed to Kimbella, he put the ring on her right hand and not her left hand. And neither one of them realized it that night. They didn't realize it till the next day when social media kept clowning them, talking about, you know, the ring is on the wrong finger. And then they finally switched it. But congratulations to Joel's and Kimbella, which we all know at this point they are currently married. Which, when is he going? He's going to jail pretty soon, if I'm not mistaken. But you guys, that was Love and Hip Hop New York. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I shall see you guys later on for Love and Hip Hop Miami. I do not know why VH1 decided to move it from Wednesday nights to Monday nights again. Whatever.